We're back with you on Morning Barbados, and at 18 after the hour, we're getting into our first chat, which focuses on the Civil Society Regional Development Project with the European Union. Our special guests this morning, we have Karen Phillip, a CPDC project consultant for capacity building. Good morning to you. And we also have Mr. Jason Francis, CPDC Program Officer. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning.
All right, let's start by getting an overview of what the organization is all about. A little background on the organization itself. Okay. Jason?
Sure. So the Caribbean Policy Development Center was formed in 1991, and it's a regional non-governmental organization. Basically, we work all across the Caribbean, and we aim to help non-governmental organizations in terms of capacity building, in terms of advocacy, poverty reduction. We work with farmers, women's organizations. So anything you can think about in terms of helping people, the Caribbean Policy Development Center is there helping non-governmental organizations to do that work, to reach out to people, to give ordinary citizens a voice.
I imagine then you have various millennial goals that you're working with at various targets. So maybe you can share a little more on that.
Okay, so as Jason was saying, that we have members across the region. We have 27 members, both organizations and individuals, and they set our programmatic theme. So we have 4 themes that we're working in: trade, governance, capacity building, and sustainable development. So yes, we are working towards the SDGs as well.
Okay, I understand that there's a 3-year project in the works. Tell us a bit about that, and how will it help the average Barbadian? Because that is one thing that has always baffled me, seeing the trickle-down effects from these projects to the average man on the street.
Sure. I'm working on the project as program officer and looking at the whole issue of governance. So when we speak of governance, we're looking at non-governmental organizations in terms of what are their internal processes, how accountable are they, how transparent are they. We also look at external governance, for example, and whether or not there's a good relationship between the non-governmental organizations and governments across the region. So of course, the more effective and more efficient non-governmental organizations operate, that will also impact the persons who benefit from their work. And Karen works on the capacity building aspect. Should be able to
right. So what I do is we offer an NGO management course for anybody in NGO management who wants to learn about how to run an NGO, the essentials of so it's 2 courses: essential of NGO management, the history of NGO advocacy, resource mobilization, and then there's development projects. So how to do a grant, how to relate to your grant manager, and how to do your reporting. And then also, if you're a senior level member of an NGO, we have the NGO leadership. So the first leadership, we did leadership and management style. The second one was resource mobilization. And the third one, which is coming up, is on policy advocacy. So teaching them the skills that they need to put the people at the center of development.
How do these representatives of NGOs reach out to you? Or do you reach out to them? How does it work?
It's a 2-way street. We have a very active social media, and we also do consultations throughout the Caribbean. We've done a consultation in every country in the Caribbean right now, I believe.
What can you tell us about some of the successes of all the integration and your looking out, basically like a watchdog, to ensure that the right policies are implemented in the right ways for these persons?
Sure. So as part of the project, we have a mechanism called the Caribbean Civil Society Working Group. And that focuses on things such as youth development, the sustainable development goals, renewable energy, and so on. So what we have is leaders from different NGOs, about 15 of those NGOs across the Caribbean, who put their heads together, who talk about what they want to see in terms of issues such as renewable energy, whether or not they have a voice in terms of implementing the sustainable development goals. And essentially, from that discussion, then we use the papers developed, we use the discussions developed to then engage government, to engage international development organizations and so on, to make sure that the voice of the ordinary people is channeled up.
Now, the EU is a major partner in this 3-year program. Tell us about their participation. What exactly are they lending to the 3-year initiative? Anyone can take that one.
Well, they funded the project. It's a direct grant from them, and they are very involved in how we implement, and they give us guidance if needed as well. And they have come to a few of our meetings as well.
They have come to a few of the meetings. So what would they want to see? Obviously, they give you the grant knowing that you will execute and use the money wisely. So what are the expectations now coming from them? What have they said to you in their talks? What would they like to see?
So the whole purpose of the grant is that we know that the sector has faced many challenges: lack of funding, not being able to get their voice on the table with the government.
And these are NGOs.
Yes, yes. And that is what they want. They want us to be able to help strengthen the capacity of the sector in order to make strategic interventions.
So that they're heard.
Right.
And action takes place.
So that, once again, people are placed at the center.
Okay. So for a group watching, I know you said it's a two-way reach out, but for someone who is a part of an NGO that would like to have a little more visibility and be a little more effective, how would they go about reaching out to you?
So there are various avenues once again. So our phone number is 437-6055, or they could find us on the website cpdcngo.org.
And there's also Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we're on, YouTube. So we're actually right now what we're trying to do to increase communication, we're hosting a social media campaign. So we started with the first executive director of CPDC, Joan French. We did a video with her, and we're trying to map who are the founding members, how do you become a member, who are our 27 members, and what our grantees, who are our partners, and what are the benefits of doing our training.
Excellent. Would you say there are specific islands that are reaching out more or doing more, or can't you say? I'm just asking.
I would say for my applications for NGO management and NGO leadership, the bulk comes from Trinidad, Jamaica, and Guyana.
Okay.
So what is Barbados missing then?
Barbados is like close.
It is close, because I know you focus on CARIFORM countries.
Yeah.
Because how do I feel like if I'm missing something?
Yeah.
I feel like
that's why they're here. They build bridges and make linkages.
So these NGO groups, they get the technical expertise, the knowledge
the know-how
to take these efforts into the community. So then these individuals living in these communities are supposed to benefit from them, whether they be as far as poverty alleviation. I just want you to paint that picture of that direct effect. Give me an example.
For example, I know only the project we would have had, for example, grants to look at, strategic planning and so on. And a lot of of course, capacity building and so on. So if an NGO, for example, is able to enhance the ability or have persons in that organization trained to write for a grant, let's say something to do with youth development, then they're able to take that training, apply to an organization which is doing funding, and then once they're successful in that funding, then they're able to go back to the community, if it's a community-based organization, or if they're working with young people at the national level, and then be able to put on better programs for those.
So
for
each
those
one
persons.
is teaching one. It's like a
Essentially.
spillover kind of effect.
So I got an email this weekend from one of my students in the NGO management course, and she's like, I didn't understand why it was so intensive at first, but now I understand you want to move us from people who just want to do good to actually people who have a structure and understand that this is a way forward. That you're not just getting up one morning and say, okay, this morning I'm going to open an NGO and that's it, but you're actually going to have a plan and you're going to go forward. And then also, as Jason was talking about, through the grantees, I mean, it's amazing the reach that we have. Hearing about Satim in Belize lobbying for Mayan rights for their forests through our grants. It's
amazing.
Okay.
So at the end of the 3 years, what next? You hoping for carry on?
Yes, we have sought some additional funding from other partners to continue the NGO management course and also the CCWG.
Yeah, well, Barbados, at least you know that you have opportunities. And from what I've been told, writing for a grant is an intense and
Very
it's
intense
a skill.
It's a skill.
So any opportunities that you can take advantage of, make sure you do. You heard that they are available just about anywhere across social media, so you have no excuse not to try to connect with the Caribbean Policy Development Center if you really want to have your voice heard and your being our collective voices heard in a stronger way. This is the move that you should make.
Yes, NGOs have a lot of work to do, and as you just heard, that's how they get the work done in the community level, at the community level as well. Thank you so much, guys, for keeping us informed and letting us know what's going on with the Caribbean Policy Development Center.